He walked in at 12:07 a.m., smiling, as if the night hadn't swallowed him whole, as if my calls, 15 of them, were nothing but background noise to whatever warmth he'd wrapped himself in. I was sitting on the couch when the door clicked. I didn't stand, didn't breathe. I only watched him toe off his shoes with that lazy confidence men grow when they think they've gotten away with something. He finally noticed me. A pause, a smirk. "What are you staring at?" His voice carried the faint tremor of someone rehearsing nonchalance. I recognized the effort. I'd heard it before, in the early years, when he still hid his lies instead of wearing them like cologne. I said nothing. He stepped closer, the alcohol on his breath sharp enough to cut. His eyes glittered, too entertained, too sure of himself. Then he leaned in, speaking as if I were nothing more than an audience to his triumph. "I was with the best woman in the world," he whispered, slow and deliberate. "And you'll never be like her." Something inside me didn't shatter, it simply shifted. He waited for a reaction, a tear, a scream, a slap, something to prove he still had power over me. But silence is its own kind of weapon. I held it like a blade behind my teeth. And that night, while he stumbled to bed, humming to himself, I lay awake, not in grief, but in calculation. Something had begun. Something I would not stop. By sunrise, the edges of his nightmare were already forming. He avoided my eyes the next morning. Hungover confidence is flimsy. It cracks under sunlight. He moved through the kitchen quietly, as if the night before had never existed, as if his words hadn't been a key turning inside a locked room in my chest. He didn't apologize. That would require vulnerability. Instead, he pretended, asked how I slept, commented on the weather, tied his tie with hands that shook just slightly. I answered in small nods, careful observations. I watched him check his phone 3 times in 1 minute. Watched him delete a message without opening it. Watched him flinch when my gaze lingered too long. The betrayal wasn't new, but the confession was. He'd crossed a line, given me something tangible, something I could trace back to its source. The best woman in the world. He said it with too much satisfaction, too much nostalgia, too much truth. He wanted to hurt me. He didn't realize he'd handed me direction instead. I remembered the whispers months ago, the sudden gym membership, the late meetings, the scent on his clothes, not perfume, hope. Hope is dangerous. It drives people to carelessness. My shock didn't come from the infidelity. It came from his eagerness to flaunt it, to rub her name, her presence, into the softest part of me. He thought I would fall apart. He still didn't understand the difference between breaking and sharpening. I moved quietly for days. Beige routine, neutral expression, calm presence. He relaxed quickly. Men like him always do. They trust the silence too much, mistake composure for surrender. I studied him the way one studies a stain, mapping the outlines, identifying the source. His patterns became my roadmap. Every time he showered, I checked his pockets. Every time he slept, I scrolled through his messages, gathering timestamps, comparing them with the hours he claimed to be at work. He never changed his passcode. He believed I wasn't capable of looking. He underestimated the value of invisibility. The evidence collected itself. Screenshots, phone logs, a hotel receipt folded neatly behind a credit card bill. Her name, first only, linked to 2 recurring transactions, a private studio, photography. Typical. I kept my breathing steady, my heart mute. At night, while he snored beside me, I traced the patterns of events, his disappearances, her appearances, the overlap between neglect and affection misdirected. I didn't confront him. That would give him space to twist the story, rewrite himself as the victim. No. I let the truth ferment. By the end of the week, I had everything I needed. I even located her online profile. Soft lighting, flattering angles, captions dripping with curated sweetness. The best woman in the world. She looked like someone who believed compliments were currency. I didn't hate her. I didn't envy her. I was simply studying the architecture of the lie. On Friday, the final piece arrived in my inbox, a detailed phone record report I'd requested from the carrier under my name, our shared plan. The pattern was undeniable. 47 calls in 2 weeks, late-night messages, photos exchanged at hours he claimed to be working overtime. The timeline was a confession. When he came home that evening, humming again, always humming when he felt victorious, I didn't speak. I simply placed the printed report on the dining table, aligning the edges with quiet precision. "What's this?" he asked, reaching for it. His eyes scanned the page. The color drained from his face slowly, like water slipping through cracks. He looked up at me. I remained still, controlled, empty. "Where did you get this?" he whispered. But he wasn't asking about the paper. He was asking about my silence, my restraint, my ability to wait. He was learning, too late, what lived beneath my quiet. I slid my phone across the table next, open to the photos of him and her outside the hotel. His hand gripping hers, her head on his shoulder. He stared as if watching his own execution in slow motion. I spoke for the first time. "I know everything." 3 words, measured, surgical. He stuttered, apologies, denials, useless fragments of guilt. I let him unravel, let the panic bloom behind his eyes. When he reached for me, I stepped back, not in fear, but in rejection. Then I delivered the final cut. "She called you her soulmate," I said softly. "I wonder if she'll still call you that when she learns you sent her photos to a married phone plan." His face collapsed, because he knew. He understood. I didn't expose him to myself. I exposed him to her, the best woman in the world. He scrambled for explanations, begging now, tripping over his own words. I watched him, detached, observing the ruins he built with his own hands. I didn't stay for the aftermath. I didn't wait for her response, or his collapse, or the echoes of whatever story he tried to salvage. I packed one bag, only the essentials, only what was mine. As I closed the door behind me, I realized something simple, something sharp. He never feared losing me. He only feared being exposed. Now he had both. Outside, the air felt clean, unfamiliar, free of his noise. For the first time in years, my mind was quiet. Not broken, not healed, just mine again. And that was the final truth he'd never see coming. Some betrayals cut deep. Others carve you out completely. I walked away with the space he left behind and called it freedom.